The Raiders apologized for Geno Smith's actions following the game. Greg Olson named the new offensive coordinator. JPJ expected to return from IR, and so much more. Yo, what is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Some More Raider, back at it again with yet another video, man. A lot of things have been going on in the past 24 hours, especially after the Raiders lost to the Browns 24-10. And of course, we know that the season is over and done with. It just depends on what the Raiders are going to do moving forward, whether they want to continue to be competitive, whether they're going to make any more changes, and will Geno Smith continue to be the quarterback moving forward? And I know if you were to ask any Raider fans out there, we'd all say no. At this point, you might as well see what you have in Kenny Pickett and even AOC. But nonetheless, first things first, of course, we know that Chip Kelly got fired just yesterday. And now all of a sudden, there's a lot of Raider fans going back and forth on whether it was the right decision. Because like I stated yesterday, I don't think everything falls on Chip Kelly, but end all be all, he is one of the main reasons why the offense has been struggling. On the other hand, though, did he have enough weapons here to at least do something? We'll never know, because he only had a half a season with this team. Now, following his release, he had some nice words to say about the Raiders before eventually leaving, saying, "I am grateful for the opportunity with the Raiders. Bottom line in this league, you have to win. I really love those players. I'm a huge Geno Smith fan. That was one of the best parts of this experience for me, working with Geno and those guys every day. But hey, we gotta win. I get it." All right, Chip, let's be honest. You don't have to lie about Geno Smith. We know that it was really hard working with a quarterback like Geno Smith. Heck, not even just him, the offensive line in general. And that's something that I'm going to get to in just a little bit. But, you know, it is what it is. He's right. At the end of the day, people want to see wins. And I feel like Pete Carroll right now is just trying to find a guy to just point fingers at. Of course, we already fired Tom McMahon before. Now we're firing Chip Kelly. But at the end of the day, the offensive line is still led by his son. But when asked on why he fired Chip Kelly, what led to that decision, Pete said that it had nothing to do with, you know, their differences on play calling, game planning, and whatnot. It was more of just him saying that he continued to give him a chance because of his background and what he had. But eventually, he just had to let him go.
We just have not captured it. And so this is what this move is about.
Is there a little bit of a differing opinion on that between you and Chip?
Not so much so, but we gave him I gave Chip a lot of leeway because he's got an extraordinary background in history, and he had such a phenomenal season coming out of Ohio State last year that we wanted to, you know, give him his due and all that. But as we continued to grow and come together, we just couldn't get there. So I wish him the very best, and I like him, and we got along great and all that, but we had to make a tough call.
Did you anticipate any other changes to your coaching staff moving forward?
No, I don't. I think this should be enough by now.
Yeah, we're pretty much cooked for the rest of the season. Now, another thing that I did clock from this press conference was one of the reporters asking if there would be any more changes, coaching changes moving forward, and he said no. He simply said no. I think that's enough for the season. Really, Pete? Really? I mean, we know that the offensive line is one of the worst in the NFL, but we already fired our special teams coordinator. We already fired our offense coordinator. And now we still have our offensive line coordinator. Brandon Carroll is still on this team, and I think that he's another guy that you're going to have to let go. Like I said before, it's between Brandon Carroll or Geno Smith. You pick. You got to pick between those two guys, whether you want to bench Geno Smith or you got to fire your son. Because if you're going to continue to go throughout the season with Brandon Carroll, then it puts a bad look on you as a head coach. I understand we love our kids. Heck, I love my daughter. But if she wasn't doing a good job at her job, she's got to get fired. And that's the same thing we want to see you do. But it's okay. We'll see what happens moving forward. We'll see what happens moving forward if the offense gets better. If it does, then okay. But I highly doubt it with how bad the offensive line has been. But speaking of offense coordinator, the Raiders didn't waste any time by naming Greg Olson as an interim offense coordinator for the Raiders. I mean, he's had his history with this team multiple times. This is his third stint with the Raiders. And we know he hasn't been the best. But hey, he's been better than Chip Kelly has been this year. He's been better than Luke Getsy. Heck, he was the offense coordinator when we went to the playoffs in 2021. So, hey, there's something there, right? I don't think it could get any worse. Then again, I said that last year and even the year before that. My honest opinions on this is I don't think that the offense is going to be any better as long as that offensive line looks as horrible as they have been, especially because we have injuries on the offensive line. Colton Miller, JPJ, those are two key pieces on the offensive line that we don't have. And right now we're just rotating pieces on the offensive line, and it still looks bad out there. We got Will Putnam out there, has no business playing in the league right now. We got Alex Kappa out there getting some real reps out there. I mean, Caleb Rogers ain't even getting any burn out there. It's really confusing to me, but then again, I'm just a fan. But like I said before, if the offense does take a step in the right direction and they look better, then okay, I'll give you that. Now, my biggest pet peeve with watching this team lately has just been seeing the defense put it all out there on the field, giving chances to the offense, and the offense not capitalizing. And that's something that is really frustrating to watch. And it's kind of ironic because we've had plenty of years where the offense was pretty solid and the defense was just really bad. Now it's been the other way around. I know our defense isn't perfect, but they've done good enough to at least give the offense many chances to score points and even win games. Now, another move that the Raiders have made following Chip Kelly's firing was the Raiders firing senior offensive assistant Bob Bicknell. I don't even know if I said his name right. Now, Bicknell was offensive coordinator Chip Kelly's right-hand man, so it only made sense that Pete Carroll fired him too. I guess this game was just the last straw for Pete Carroll. But like I said, we'll see what happens moving forward. Now, something else that I want to see moving forward is just benching Geno Smith. Geno has been bad. I've talked about it many times before, whether you want to blame him, you want to blame the offensive line, you want to blame play calling, our offensive coordinator, our offensive line coordinator, whoever it may be, Geno Smith is still continuing to show that he doesn't have it. And following the game yesterday, we all talked about it. Everybody, it's been going viral. Geno Smith flipping off the fans, running out into the locker room. Like I said, I know that he's frustrated. I know Raider Nation is frustrated, but as a professional, as a true professional, I had to think about it. You can't be doing that. You never seen anybody else do that to their own fan base, especially knowing how bad you've been. But it seems like the Raiders took matters into their own hands, apologizing for his actions. Now, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, they said that the Raiders are aware of an obscene gesture made by Geno Smith towards the fans following Sunday's game at Allegiant Stadium. We are disappointed in his actions and have discussed the incident with Geno. We hold the Raider Nation in the highest regard and take this matter seriously. According to the NFL League's policy, Geno's actions are considered conduct detrimental to the team. And that's really serious. Now, this is going to be a point where I feel like the Raider Nation is going to see what the Raiders do. And they're going to see what Pete Carroll does with these actions, because at the end of the day, you can't disrespect the fans. And I know fans can be disrespectful, but to let the Raider Nation get under your skin so much that you just want to throw that out there, especially when there's cameras around, so you didn't care about your actions at the moment. Now, I want to see what Geno Smith has to say about it. I know he's going to say just blame it on him, but that was definitely uncalled for. I know jokingly, like me as a person, like I said, I'd do the same thing if I was Geno, but you better be ready for the repercussions. Now, I don't think that his daddy, Pete Carroll, is going to bench him for this next game, but I don't know. Maybe they bench him for a quarter. They put in another quarterback in. I feel like us Raider fans are only hoping and wishing that would happen, but I highly doubt that would even happen. And the more that Pete Carroll continues to stick by Geno, no matter what, and stand up for him no matter what, he's going to be even more disconnected from the Raider Nation, and a lot of fans are going to want to call for his head. Heck, the Raiders might even fire him after the season, but I hope that they do something about it. Now, I got to be honest with you guys. I got to be real with you guys for a bit. I got to apologize. I got to apologize to the Seahawk fan that we've seen in preseason, where he had that sign saying who's the bigger bust, Geno or Jamarcus Russell. Because I know Raider Nation, we were all on his head because we was like, you know what, Geno ain't that bad. Like, that's disrespectful, yada, yada, yada. We were all happy that Geno Smith flipped him off because we thought that he was going to come over here and he was going to light up the league. He was going to show the league that he belongs in here, and why the Raiders even pay him the big bucks, because he continues to show that he's that guy. But I've been saying it on this channel many times this year after every loss that he continues to show that he's not that guy. So I apologize to that Seahawk fan, because I didn't know any better. Heck, I barely know anything. I just give my opinions on this show all the time. But as far as that sign couldn't be any more truer than it has right now. But Raider Nation, what do you guys think about the whole Geno Smith drama? What do you think about Pete Carroll firing Chip Kelly, about making Greg Olson the offense coordinator, and even Brendan Carroll still having a job on his team? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, speaking of the offensive line, real quick, Jackson Powers-Johnson, who I thought was going to be out for the rest of the season, I guess reports are coming out that the Raiders are expecting Jackson Powers-Johnson to return before the end of the season, stating that Johnson's injury was viewed to be potentially season ending and surgery was needed as well. Carroll noted that JPJ was starting to walk on his own in a walking boot after being mobile in a scooter. JPJ is now being considered a week-to-week matter. As for Colton Miller, Pete Carroll expects him to be on pace to return next month. Now, you would think that this would be good news because, hey, those are the two best offensive linemen that we do have. My one question is, if JPJ does return, will he be playing center? Because at this point, they've been throwing anybody at center. I know it really doesn't matter if they're back or not, but as long as Brandon Carroll is your offensive line coordinator, I don't think that they're going to be any better anytime soon. But that's just me, Raider Nation. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Until the next video, we are Yow.